Thanks everybody for coming. Oh, geez, okay. Got it. All right. So I'll just kind of go over what we're going to do here. So I'll say a couple things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Peter, and he's going to talk about our restoration projects that we've been doing and the planting that's been going on. And then Wendy's going to chat about our parks, Firesmart stuff, and then go on and talk about our soil a little bit. We tried a little experiment there, and then maybe we'll hold the questions, if there are any, until after Wendy's finished. And then if you have any questions, then we'll answer those. And then Neil will carry on and talk about hours, and then we'll do the raffle. So, okay, let's throw that first screen up there. So our Firesmart project again this year was, I think, a really great success. Do you have that thank you one there, Emily? There we go. Okay, so it's only a success because of everyone that participates, and so I think we just owe a few thank yous to everybody. Oh, can we go back one there? There we go. You're too fast for me there. I can't talk that fast. So the three companies that cooperate together to make this thing work for us. Milner's is the company that the city uses for the bins. They also have a lot of different types of soils, gravels, that kind of stuff. So Craig, he's the manager at Milner's. He was instrumental in giving us quite a good break on the soil, so that we could use a bit of it as a fundraiser for projects for next year. So they were very good. The MJR guys, the chipping crew, always awesome. You had to feel sorry for them on Monday in the pouring rain out there, and they still managed to chip 3 full bin loads of stuff. They're just real hardworking guys. And then Larry Wardill, probably a lot of people don't know this, but there was a chance that this whole thing could have collapsed, because at the exact same time that we were organizing for bringing everything over, the north ramp at Brecken all of a sudden was closed because there's a big sewage outfall leak, and so they were closing the ramp to all traffic to work on that. And Larry's barge can't access the south ramp for things like an extra fire engine or the chip truck. They're too long for that. So he worked tirelessly there to convince the city to reopen that north ramp periodically for him to use, so that he could get the equipment over here. Otherwise, would have been not much happening. So thanks to all those guys. They've been coming for the last 2 or 3 years and have been awesome. Also, City Parks is a really great partner in this whole thing, providing the trees and the plants and all the support for doing the work in the parks. And fire rescue, of course, there are our masters as far as being the Firesmart conduit, getting us money and giving us support. And so it was a bit of a transition year. Our Jody helped out quite a lot early on, and then Jeff and Stu kind of filled the gap, because Brad Wood, who was our contact, he retired in the summer. And it sounds like Fire Rescue has just actually named a new Firesmart coordinator for Nanaimo. So if it wasn't for all of the work that Brad did in the last couple of years, we probably, our budget would be much less, and who knows really how much we'd be getting accomplished on the island. So I think between those two city departments, we have really good support, and they're very enthusiastic about what's going on Protection Island. And of course, our island groups, the Lions, Digs, and our Gary Oak people are always out helping us out, and just providing the manpower. And we've kind of taken all those projects and molded them into one sort of larger project to really maximize our volunteer time. So other people that really helped out, thanks to Dave and Carol, they let us use their cart, their trailer. Dave brought all the plants over on his barge. I mean, it was actually a completely full barge of foliage, and then they also allowed us to use their yard. We're still using their yard as a temporary nursery for all these homeless plants that we're going to plant next Sunday. So, and also full disclosure, I think when Wendy will talk about it, but everybody I think was real happy with the soil. Well, Dave was he was the one who actually had the idea, so we just kind of stole his idea there. So we think it's a good one, and we'll probably carry on there. Paul and Doug, Paul he lets us use his excavator twice a year, and Doug runs the thing. And if it wasn't for that excavator, man, our loading of the bins would be a huge challenge, right? So thanks to them. There's another page of thank yous here, so I'll go through this quickly. So Jim Harris, Jim Lawton, and Ken Pepperdine, they just did a ton of work. Jim Lawton helped us down all day on Tuesday, loading the bins and stuff. Jim Harris drove around loading all that stuff, and I mean, even without Brenda, he had to put up with me for the day. But and Ken Pepperdine, he loaded stuff all by himself in the pouring rain and brought it down to the bins. So thanks to them, and of course thanks to Emily for hosting this, and Grant and Renee. We rely on them to run a fair raffle, and so I'm sure they're going to do fine this time again. We do want to thank, excuse me, thank our spouses as well. Firesmart's become quite a sort of a second job for all of us. We're putting in quite a bit of time, and I think our spouses have been fairly patient with us, and they're also down to lend a hand when needed. And we do probably all hear from time to time that there's probably projects in our houses that could be done instead of spending all this time in the parks. But anyways, they're a patient group for the most part. And of course, thanks to everyone who's participating in all these events. It's the time that Islanders are spending and the hours that you're getting to Neil that are the foundation for funding and for all the support we're getting from the city and everything else for future projects. So thanks to everyone. Plus, obviously the side benefit is we're building resiliency project after project for our island, and hopefully it's going to pay off in the future. So anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say. So thanks to everyone. Like I say, another good successful Firesmart week, and I'll turn it over to Peter for talking about our restoration work.
Thanks, Rick. I'm sure everybody's noticed that we've lost a lot of trees over the last few years, and seems to be sort of two problems. One is we're having climate change. Things are getting drier, long, dry summers, and a lot of the larger trees are getting near the end of their life. They're about 150 years old, and so we're having to take them down. And the problem with that is that the green spaces that were acting as visual barriers are now diminishing, so you can now see your neighbor across the back of the green space. And the green spaces tend to be taken over by invasives. So rather than just sort of trying to take out the brush and get rid of the dead trees, we have decided together with the city parks and with the local Gary Oak restoration people that we would try to restore the parks. And this has meant that we are trying to plant a number of native species, quite a large variety of native species in the parks. And before we do that, we're trying to clear out as many of the invasives as we can. So last year was our first attempt at this, and we had projects that we worked on: Hidden Treasure Park, and we worked on Ben Gunn Park and at Elizabeth Park. And so we cleared out large number of invasives and then started to plant, as you can see in these pictures there. Unfortunately for us, this was the hottest and driest summer on record, which put a lot of stress on these little plants. And so unfortunately, we probably have lost about half of them. But we did learn some lessons through this process. And one of them is that and we've instigated this year, is we're moving towards bigger plants in hopes that they have a better established root system. We'll be able to outcompete some of the other plants that are in the green space. And we're hoping to pay a little bit more attention to the microclimate that we're planting the plants in. I think last time we planted them in the last fall and in the spring is that we ended up putting plants in places that weren't really very good for them. And hopefully we can adjust things for that. And also we've learned that it's absolutely critical for the first year, maybe 2 years, to ensure that the plants are watered. Now, we realized that partway through the summer, and you probably noticed that there were some water containers put out in Hidden Treasure Park and Elizabeth Park for people to water the plants. But I think, unfortunately, we were a little bit too late in that, and there, as I say, a fair number of plants died. So this next year, we are hopefully going to do things bigger and better. We're choosing bigger rootstock. I think we're trying to pay a little bit more attention to getting a good hole to put them in, adjusting the microclimate a little better so that we're putting the appropriate species in the right place with respect to how dry it is or how much sun there is. And we had the city donate us, I think, isn't it, Rick, 3 more of those water containers that we're going to spread around in the parks. And this will give us the ability to not wait until the plants are under stress, but to start watering them maybe by the middle and end of May, so that they can continue to grow throughout the summer and get a good root system in for the next year. I also think one of the things that we would like to do is to have people take some ownership in a number of the plants that are planted. Basically, we have a tree stewards that they take it upon themselves to ensure that a number of these plants are watered regularly throughout the summer, and we can get them through the first couple of years, then they should be fine. So we did some planting this fall. We done a bit of fill-in in Hidden Treasure where we had some of the trees die. We also planted a fair number of trees in Ben Gunn Park. And coming up this next Sunday at 1 o'clock, we're going to go into Elizabeth Park, where we're going to put in, I think, mostly Salal and Oregon grape there, given the sort of the micro habitat that we have available. We also have some arbutus trees that we want to plant in Pirates Park and in Smugglers Park. You may have noticed that we get very little regeneration of arbutus trees naturally, and that's because the deer just love arbutus trees. So we've bought some fencing, and we're going to fence these trees. And I think we may well have to do that with the Gary Oaks as well. So I'd encourage everybody to come out next Sunday to plant the trees, and that people think about if they would like to be a plant steward next summer to help get these little trees through those critical couple of years. We'll put out another message in the spring to remind people, and maybe we'll take a list of people who are willing to do that. So maybe we can have a number of people looking after the same trees, so people aren't burdened that they don't have to do it all the time. They can go away for a while and the trees are still watered. So if you have any questions about the reforestation projects, you can contact us, and we'll hopefully be able to answer some of your questions.
Hey, your turn, Wendy. Thanks,
Okay,
Peter.
so this fall, Firesmart concentrated on Pirates Park, which is the, and basically the area to the left of the stairs, which is a very slippery slope, I must say. A little dangerous for people who are up there trying to do work on it, but there was more holly taken from that park than any other park so far. I don't know if people saw it, but there was quite a lot of ivy. It was, and holly, especially, it was taken out of there. So Firesmart this year removed 16 tons of material from the island, which I think is a lot. The most holly ever that was taken off, and had the largest cleanup area, which was mainly the 2 acres in Pirates Park. There was more chipping than ever, with 12 truckloads of chips that were done. Ben Gunn Park was done. The city had gone in there and put in the boardwalk, which has made a big difference for people. I've had quite a few people say how nice it is now to walk in there, not feeling like you're slipping everywhere. So with that, there was a lot of work in Ben Gunn too, taking out some of the invasives in there. Elizabeth Park restoration, as Peter talked about, will be done next Sunday, the 28th at 1 o'clock. So again, it would be great if people could come down and help with that. And the soil was incredibly well received, especially we got it, and the first day was great. There was no rain. The second, it was just pouring, but people showed up with great big smiles on their faces and lots of containers. And we basically got rid of the soil within the day. I mean, it was from 1 o'clock on one day into the next at noon, and most of the soil was gone. People really seemed to appreciate it. We brought over 30 yards of soil and split them up between the north and south end of the island. And I think that really helped people come in and get what they wanted. But many people came back for multiple loads. So it did work out really well. And the soil itself seemed to be really good. We got it from Milner's, which was great. So we're thinking of doing that in the spring as well. As we know, soil is like gold here, and we don't have too much of it. So I think it would be good. It would be great if we could do that once again. So the Firesmart board will be meeting over the winter and getting feedback from the community on possible future projects. Anybody who's into invasive plants and trailblazing would be more than welcome to be on the Firesmart board. That would be great. And just a big thank you for everybody, again, for all the support for Firesmart. It's been really appreciated. So thank you. And
Thank you, Wendy. So is anybody, before we go to the big raffle and Neil's comments on the hours, does anybody have any questions for Peter or Wendy or Neil or myself? Wendy kind of alluded to it there, but we are, when we kind of got going, we had this meeting with all the different island groups, and the sort of the consensus was that we need to concentrate our efforts. We only have so many volunteer hours per year on the island, so if we can tie these projects into meeting a whole bunch of different objectives at the same time, that's awesome. So we are doing that. However, there are just 4 of us, so we're kind of hoping that a couple of people over the next couple of months will step forward and we don't really have a person that's kind of championing invasive plant removal, and we don't really have a person that's kind of championing reestablishing trails and that kind of stuff. So it would be great to add a couple more people to the board so that they can kind of focus on those areas. And we are trying to do everything at once, but we don't want to miss anything, and we don't want to keep going back to the same park multiple times if we can avoid it. So anyways, spread the word. You don't have to put your hand up tonight, but if you're interested, contact one of us, and we'll put you through the initiation process. Okay, Neil, what do you got for hours here?
Okay, thanks, Rick. And just to repeat what's been said before, we really couldn't have this kind of successes without community support. Just to go back to the spring, I had 1,461 hours, and then I had some late postings, which pushed that up over 1,563 hours. We did in this fall exercise 836.5 hours. Putting it all together in one package, it's 2,500 hours the community has put in to Firesmarting the island. And when you look at the bins, the tonnage that goes off, it's truly impressive. I mean, you have to consider that a lot of these, especially the small stuff, probably gets handled maybe 3 or 4 times before it gets to a bin. The bigger stuff, you may stockpile it in your road over the winter. I'm sorry, in your yard over the winter, but then it has to get out to the road. The chipper has to come around and handle it, and then the chips have to be dealt with. So it's impressive what we do as a community, and I want to thank everyone for all their commitment to this. I don't think I can say much else. Those were the numbers.
Thanks, Neil. I think the one thing I did forget to mention was that we've had a few discussions with fire rescue over the last year or so, and each time we have an event, there's increasing pressure not to make chips available anymore. That the fire department would rather have the chips put in a bin and taken off the island, and we've been pushing back on that, but each time we push back, we're not pushing as much. So we're finding that probably over the next event or so, likely the majority of the chips are going to be taken off the island. It makes it a little easier for putting out your piles because you can add invasives and branches together. But so if we can get this either soil or compost or whatever coming over in the bins, it kind of is going to compensate for losing the chips, because I think most people use them for composting of some variety in their yards. So so there's still a bit of chips at the dog park, and there's still a bit by Neil and Kathy's place. So if you really love chips, I would get some, because you may not see them again. So okay, the exciting part of the evening is coming up. We'll turn this over to Emily and Renee and Grant.
All right, here we go. So Renee and Grant, we've got 2 bins. This is the one of the prizes, and then Renee has the bin with the names. All right, so who's gonna draw first?
Me.
You okay? So grab one, can't look in. Here, do you want to do the prize first?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, do the prize first. Here, Renee, can you read it out? And speak loudly.
$50 gift certificate and 2 ferry passes from the pub.
All right, want to pick the name, Granty?
Who's going to win that, Grant?
That's a lovely thing. Yeah.
All right.
Tom and Arlene.
Tom and Arlene, okay,
Great.
Yeah.
confirmed.
Perfect.
Renee's turn.
Nancy Turner book,
Lucian's.
Lucian's Plants.
That's this one.
I'm glad you got it, Wendy.
Yes, thank you, Nancy.
Rob and Vicky Thompson.
Bob and Vicky Thompson.
Oh, okay.
All right, Grant's got the next one.
Cheesecake from Thora.
No.
Okay, Thora, okay, who wins that?
Irene Duncan.
Oh, Irene, lucky Irene.
Good deal.
Yeah, really lucky.
PI Cookbook, new printing, and 2 new real estate posters.
The book. And these are hot off the press, gang. Well, the book's hot off the press too, but we've done some of the old real estate posters. We put them
Oh,
on
fun.
sheets. Yeah.
Ken Pepperdine.
Ken Pepperdine,
Yay.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. Awesome.
Wasp gutter mount sprinkler system.
Yeah.
Robert Dodge.
Oh, good.
Robert Dodge.
Oh.
All right, last
Oh.
one.
Seven-foot Pacific crabapple tree from City of Nanaimo.
Oh, boy. Oh.
I'm gonna be sad to see that leave my garden.
Oh, bad.
I will.
Barry Elmer.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Barry's gonna like that.
Mary and I were just talking about that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That almost is fixed. Maybe that's going down in the circle.
There you go.
Yay. Congratulations.
That's
everyone.
awesome.
That's perfect.
Done. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, way
And
to
actually,
go.
I realized I was remiss in saying about the soil that Firesmart donated some soil to the community garden, and we also donated some to the circle too. So Barry and yeah, Barry and Jane worked really hard. So we lent them our golf carts. So I should have mentioned that. Yeah, so that's great. That's great. Thank you for doing that.
Okay,
Yeah, and we're also hoping in the spring to get all these wasp fire kits all fired up at the same time and do a little bit of an island trial to see if we explode our water system sometime during our spring event there. So, sorry, Neil, did I cut you off there?
no, that's a good idea, actually. I've often wondered
Yeah.
what's gonna happen when Newcastle Island's bearing down on us with the wild.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we figured it's probably better to try it before the fire season starts. And
Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Emily,
all
can you-
right, well, we'll post those winners on Pro Isle so that everybody knows.
I'll give everybody a call too and let them know. Sure.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you, everybody, and thank you so much
Yeah.
for everybody's support. That's
Thanks
Yes.
so much, all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And, okay, so if there's no questions, we're done until the spring. So if you, we are going to have a revisit of our overall Firesmart plan, since we have a new liaison with the fire department. It's time to revisit the plan anyways. So we will sometime between now and the spring have another public meeting to talk about it. So we hope you all come and voice your opinions and give us a little bit of guidance. So thanks, everybody. Go back to watching what you were watching.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay,
Night.
good night.